Good morning, Anne.
Good morning, Matt.
I know you have a lot going on, so what's up?
Oh my gosh. Well, so Denver got hit with a big snowstorm today, which we were expecting, but it was just, even when you're expecting it, you're still like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of snow. And so everybody's up shoveling and it makes you late. And then the kids go crazy because it's the first snow of the season. So then they were out playing at 6:30 in the morning before school, freezing, but kids don't have a thermometer, so it was fine. And then, of course, there was a meltdown and all my stuff's wet. I don't want to go to school. You played in the snow already. So it's just like, I couldn't. It was just a day I couldn't. My mom brain was taking over by 7 a.m. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go to the nearest coffee shop, which is my favorite. And we're going to have my favorite Americano. And I'm just going to do life differently. So I finally dropped my oldest, my 10-year-old, who had an epic meltdown off at school, 45 minutes late. Called her in, said she needs more time. That's all I could think of for the excuse. She needs more time today. She's 10. And here we are. So I'm ready. I'm killing it. I already had some meetings. We're doing life. How are you today?
I just slow start. I just had a lot of small admin work to take care of this morning. So I get
sometimes that feels good.
To me, it's like nothing done. To me, that's like this is just a waste. But
because the impact isn't your marketing or your sales bottom line.
There's no impact. I mean, there's definitely impact, but it's in my head, it's like the most.
Matt, you're organizing your business. Admin work equals organizing. You have to.
No, there's all the stuff I just procrastinated. But anyway, this morning, a couple hours of just like little tasks, bullshit.
Mm-hmm. You know what came out today? I think the Spotify Wrapped came out today, and my husband sent me a text and an image. It looks really cool. I'll send it to you, of our OnlyFounders cover art with a cool background. And it said his most listened to podcast, of course, was no surprise. 503 minutes this year. He's already clocked on OnlyFounders. Okay. And he's like, yeah, no surprise there. It's your podcast. But I'm wondering who else of our fans out there has their Spotify Wrapped, if they listen to their podcasts on Spotify, to see who else some of our fans are. Because I think we can go into Spotify and we can see who our top listeners are. We might be able to do that.
I have no idea how.
I know. I wonder if I can figure it out. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I know artists in Spotify can send a message to their top fans who's listened to them the most this year, and then the artist can send them a private message. So I wonder if podcasts can do that too. But that was pretty fun to see.
I'm sure. I don't know if I maybe logged in it once. Yeah.
Let's see. We might need to check that out. That's exciting. So if you guys have listened to our show this year and you have any minutes to document, definitely give us a social share. I said chair. That's exciting. We're showing up in Spotify Wrapped.
Actually, if you said share, if you actually in your head said chair, but it came out as share, it still sounds like share anyway.
It does. Yeah. I really need to just not correct myself. Hilarious. I'm running on an espresso this morning. So we're highly caffeinated. This is number 2. Yeah. So how is the weather in Houston? Is it hot?
No, it's actually cold. It's 46 degrees here.
Oh. That's unusually cold.
I think so. At least it's a little early for being cold. But it won't be cold long. In Houston, usually it's cold for a week and then bounces back. If there's like a cold spell across the nation. So
yeah. That's good.
It's fine.
Yeah.
And then, weather-wise, I love Houston. I don't have to worry about snow. So,
well, I do know that, but don't you get all that rain like in the spring? It's just flooding.
I don't mind rain. Rain is it's very calming. I don't have I used to live in Chicago, so if I don't have to shovel, I'm happy.
Yeah, you're right.
I hate shoveling.
I think I like snow over rain. I think when it rains in Colorado, it's a nice short rain.
No, snow looks great until it turns into slush, and then it's actually worse than rain. Yeah.
True. Yeah, it's messy. It's really messy. It's really wet. Our house pretty much from now through March or April is just like mopped up with towels like every day because we have a 70-pound sheepadoodle dog, of course, and then he comes inside and melts all the little snowballs off. And then we have the 3 kids. And so they come in their snow boots and just drop. Of course, mom leaves out all the towels, right? Okay, come in and put your stuff on the towel. And then they just drop it on the couch instead. So yeah, it's pretty wet. I figured I can probably have nice things in like 10 years when our youngest is 16. And maybe like maybe we can have nice things that get taken care of. So for now, it's cheap, it's replaceable, it doesn't matter. And my husband and I always have this joke. When shit hits the fan and life is chaotic and everything is just nuts and messy, we look at each other and go, one day we're going to miss this. Not now. One day, we just sit in it. And it's actually another example of sitting in the shit. I talk about that a lot. We sit in it and we go, one day we're going to miss this. And that's okay. Not today.
That's definitely true. I mean, you enjoy the journey, not the destination, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's really what that is.
That's very true. Yeah. Yeah. And one day they're going to be 12, 14, and 16 and want nothing to do with us. And they're all, out with their friends or doing extracurriculars or never home. And we're going to be
pessimistic. I would grow the age to 16, 17. Then okay.
Okay. Maybe 16, 18, and 20. And it's like, peace out, mom and dad.
That's probably it. And then they come back at 20. They come back at
22,
25.
and they're like, "Hey, here, where's your wine? And can we do our laundry? And what's for dinner? Oh, wait, who are you?"
I wonder if that's the typical. I wonder if that was always been the cycle.
I wonder.
Probably, I don't know.
I wasn't allowed to go home. It was basically, you need to go to college. You need to graduate in 4 years if we are going to pay for it and help you with some of the loans. And anything beyond 4 years is 100% on you. And you are not able to move back home after you graduate. Which I graduated in a recession. It was brutal. And before the age of 25, I went through 2 layoffs. Got really good, strong development of grit, which is great, which I think helped me as an entrepreneur. And got real scrappy. Learned how to look at the Craigslist gig section for projects and work in marketing.
I'm sure I did that in my teens. I'm pretty sure.
I remember gigs. It was like a gig economy. And I was like piecing together what would have been a salary each time I got laid off with this like part-time gig project work culture.
I made a lot of money off Craigslist.
I did too. I really did. It was a gold
let's see, what year was that? So I was 16. No, I was 17.
Wait, how old are you now? 35?
35.
So we're 6 years apart. So yeah, I would have been 22, 23, and you would have been 17.
Yeah,
18.
so I was 17, and then I think I made like $500 a month off Craigslist at least.
Yep. Same.
And it was like I was doing a bunch of other. I was in school.
My rent. Listen to this. I remember my rent for my first apartment after school. It was a 642 square foot studio apartment. I still remember the square footage, and I remember it was like $570-ish a month, which at the time was so expensive. But we were talking 2006. That's when I graduated college, and that was a lot. But I also lived a little bit further from downtown. My job was right downtown on 16th Street Mall. And so I'd had to get down there and get parking and all that stuff. But I remember I was so proud of myself. I remember making, I think it was $40,000 my first job out of college.
And I got ripped off. So my rent was because I had to pay for parking too. So like everything included, it was like $1,400.
What?
And that was my first apartment.
Whoa! How big of an apartment was that?
Wasn't that big? Bigger. And you said what? You said 800 square feet was yours?
No, 640.
So mine was like probably like. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember I'm trying to remember like the layout because that's the only.
Yeah.
So maybe like 7 between 7 and 9 is somewhere in there.
That's good. That's a good size. That's like a 1 bedroom. Yeah,
definitely 1 bedroom. But
do you remember how big that felt though? Like when you were that age and you graduated from college and you were like, you walk in and you're like owning the place and you're like, man, this is all mine. And you pay for it and you feel like a boss and you have bills. Like I just remember my first year out of college. I just felt like I had this space. And then you had a pool and you had a gym and
I didn't have any of that. See, I got ripped off.
Oh, really? Oh, you got ripped off, man. Yeah.
And then like on top of it, so I was making about the same amount. So that my first job, $40K. So this was, yeah. So let's see. I moved out when I was.
Was it a marketing 19.
job? We're a marketing company. So I moved out when I was 19. So I'm trying to think.
Where did you go to college?
I went to college. It was a community college in DuPage County called I don't remember. I think it's just called DuPage College. The DuPage
did you graduate?
College. No. I was going there for accounting, and then from like 18 to 19, I was working like I had like a couple hour marketing job at this one restaurant. I did accounting work for a bank, and I did websites on the side, and then I have school.
Okay.
So for like 2 years, I got like 4 hours of sleep.
It's on par.
And then like once I was just trying to find more money for the website stuff. And I think I'm sure it was off Craigslist. I don't remember. I was posting my resume everywhere, just like passively. And like, I think someone just emailed me. Anyway, this company in Oak Park reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to do some contract work for us? And then, yeah. And then they were saying, what's the rate? I just made up a rate. So I said like $50 an hour.
Yeah.
And
which at the time felt like so much money.
Yeah, I mean, like basically, like if I don't know how to explain it because I had so many paychecks coming in because all these little jobs. So like, it was hard to tell like
very smart
what money was. It's like it's just, and I was living at home at the time. So anyway, I did contract work, and then for that company, and then like 2 months in, they said you want to work full time, and then once they did full time, then I moved out. Right, gotcha. I was still 19.
That's great.
And then that was 40, it's either 42 or 43,000. So the apartment I got was right across the street because I'm like, I don't like commuting. I was commuting for 2 years from a suburb to Chicago, and my commute was for the bank. And it was an hour and a half one way. So
oh my gosh.
I was like, I never want to commute.
You did that every day, Monday through Friday?
4 days a week. 3 days a week on average, and then sometimes I had to do like if I didn't have school, I would do 5 days a week.
Wow, that's intense.
But it was a lot of money. So like I got paid like I didn't have to do anything. I automated my job, so I just have to show up, right? Just show up and just like check things, and then like just do nothing for 8 hours. So I had a broken iPhone, so I was just like messing around with the iPhone for like 8 hours a day, or doing schoolwork, right?
That's crazy.
Yeah. So. Yeah, 42,000, my first job, but my rent was so high. I'm basically
I don't know how you could afford $1,400 a month.
It's 50% of my income, basically.
Yeah, that's you're just house poor.
And then I think my car was paid off at the time. So car was good. I didn't have to worry about car, but insurance was very expensive because I was only 19, 20.
Oh yeah, so and you're a male. That's like
it was like $250, $300. This is like. It wasn't 300, but it was very close to it when I first got it.
Wow.
So that means, and this was, I was 19. So this was like a long time ago. Like my insurance rates was like super low. Even today, in today's numbers, it's still pretty low.
Today you're lower than you were?
Oh, way lower. I mean, like before COVID, I was probably paying 120. Now these days, I'm probably paying closer to like 180 or something. There's like no way to lower it. But anyway. Yeah. So I was living like, I basically just like half my income was to rent. And then, so I always felt poor. I felt more poor moving out than anything. Yeah. Even though I made way more money than anyone else that I knew. Rent was just, I got ripped off of that place. But totally. It was great. I mean, I was there for 2 years, I think. Maybe 1 or 2 years.
I was at my first job for about 2 years, 1.5 to 2 years before I got laid off. I actually took a second job as well. I wanted to just try and make as much money as I could. And at the time, I kind of made it my social life. So I thought about it. I thought I was pretty smart at 22. I actually look back on that and go, damn, Ann, you made some really good choices. I worked downtown. I was a social butterfly, still am. I was like, if I'm going to go out and want to have nightlife and dance and drink and like all the things that a 22-year-old loves to do, I might as well work in the scene to start making relationships and network. So I actually got a job as a host at a champagne bar right a block away from my office. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then some Sundays, I could just get off work, bring a change of clothes, walk over, eat dinner because I eat there for free, save some costs there and then make some money there. And then we all shared on tips too. And the Denver Nuggets went and hung out there and got tables. The Broncos went and hung. It was like the bougie champagne bar on Larimer Square. And I ended up getting to know the owner pretty well because I was a relationship person, and just ended up being the hostess. You're then that gatekeeper of a prestigious place. So being a little 22-year-old, I developed a really high ego and a really good sense of like, oh, I have some control here. And so running the hostess stand of like, at that age, kind of having that control on the Denver scene was really fun. And I made some great relationships of some of the restaurant owners and bar owners on that strip. And they're like, oh yeah, you work at that champagne bar. So it kind of gets you in a little bit further. And then when I would go out, so I got married when I was 27. And I remember I had my bachelorette party at one of the dance clubs that I loved down there that was hard to get into. But one of my great friends was a doorman and like general manager. And so of course my whole crew got in like down the red carpet. And so it really elevated my 20s of like, oh no, like I got this, let me get us in. And then I was that chick that was like, oh no, I know someone, let me get us in. And my 20s were insanely fun. Because of that. And then I got paid to be there and to party. And then the rule was, this is so like early 2000s. It's funny. The rule was when you're working, you could have one drink a shift. Mm-hmm. And if anyone bought it, so people were buying like the, $5,000-$10,000 bottles of champagne. And then they were giving you a glass as like a thank you or a tip. So I was drinking like all this insane stuff. It was awful. I prefer the $14 glass of wine. But it was really fun. And we all got like, we called them shift shots. It's like, what kind of culture is this? But that was it back then.
So like that's how you develop your networking skill.
Yes. And so we'd all do shift shots and like, some nights I was like, I shouldn't have been driving home. What were we doing?
So the ego thing, I can relate to that because I think, so from like 19 to 23, maybe 22, 23, 4-year period, I went from making 42,000 to 200,000, and my ego also fell. And then my expenses didn't change much. So basically, I just felt like a millionaire.
That's great. Was that from the compilation of all of the sources of income that you?
No, I quit everything after I got the full-time job at 42. I quit everything except that one thing, and then and then because from 19 to 20, I still felt poor living in my first apartment. I still did freelance, but I learned how to get bigger clients. I think I just still kept posting everywhere, and the people found me. Okay. And then I was only at that job for like a year and a half. I quit, and then went to downtown Chicago, doubled, found something that's double, stayed there for 2 years, and then doubled again.
Wow.
Right.
So you did that with salary.
So I was at 180 base, and then I just found like extra like 20,000 somewhere. I don't remember.
That's incredible. So you didn't even do that with your own contract work. You literally did that as a salaried employee.
No, there was definitely contract somewhere on the side for sure. Okay. I was always doing two things.
That's kind of remarkable with salary.
No, salary, the highest I ever gotten from a salary is 98,000. No one ever gave me 100. But It was like, but I only had 2 jobs in my entire life. So it was like 42,000, then it became 80, and then they bumped it to like 90 something. And then bonuses always brought it over, but it wasn't like part of the salary.
This is interesting. The last time I was owned and worked for someone before I was a founder, my salary was in the high 80s. And then I got bonuses I don't know that I think I'm with you. The last time I was owned, I was a female. I was lower on the marketing. I was still a female. I was lower on the marketing totem pole, but I was getting elevated quickly. And I don't think I ever made it to 100K base. No, I didn't. That's interesting. I was just below 100K, and then I got bonuses and everything else that got me over that. But that was the last salary as well for me. Yeah. And then I went off on my own and have.
Yeah, when I went off my own, then money was like no problem. Like I just might make whatever.
But I struggled. I did not have the same founder journey as you, especially because we had our 3 kids. I took.
I wasn't really in a founder mode. I was actually more like I'm at your service mode, right? I wouldn't say I'm not.
You were like consultant mode. You were like,
yeah. I was like, we're here to make like big money right now.
Yep. I think that's interesting. We should identify that as you can be in founder mode and want to grow a company and build a company, or you can be in, I want to employ myself and get as much money as I can on my own. Because those are 2 very different jobs.
Well, it's a I'm sure everyone has a different path, but my opinion is you have to be in the service mode as a prerequisite if you want to be a founder who says no positions below me. Right.
Oh,
right. Because like if you have the mentality of like, I'm at your service, everything's on the table. So then that means nothing's below you and you're ready to do whatever it takes to succeed, whatever it is. Right. So to me, the service mode is a prerequisite to building companies, but I know not everyone's like that. And there's people who are perfectly great at top-down management. Right?
Correct. And they build a company and they've never done all the jobs in the company.
Exactly. And to them, like, that means they're really great. They're a really great people person. They know they have a good network. They know how to hire, right? They're perfect. That works for them. For me, I just cannot fathom of running a company where I don't know all the details. I'm really detail oriented. Like, I'm weaker in some areas. That's fine, but at least I acknowledge it and like I can hire. But the areas that make the most money, the areas that really mean a lot to growth, like I have to know the details, because if I don't know and something goes sour, I don't know how to pivot. And sure, I could hire really great folks and they could figure it out, but I just cannot release that ability to them. I have to know personally.
That's interesting. I'm the opposite. I am the person that wants to hire the expert. You tell me just enough of what I need to know. You need to build that trust with me so I know that you can handle your shit, and then you go do your job. And I have not done every job in my company, nor do I want to learn how to do every job in my company. It's why I hire really great people. Whoa. And then when we do have, that has come back to bite me. When we do have a problem with one of the things and they try to explain what the issues are, the communication has some level of breakdown. And that's when I'm at my highest stress as a business owner, because I sit there and go, I don't understand why this isn't working. And I don't want to understand why this isn't working. I need to hear from you what you need to do to fix this so that I can tell the client what the fuck is going on.
So right? This is where the ego, we mentioned you built a big ego in your early 20s. Well, I built a really big ego in my early 20s because now I was ignoring the financial piece. I was usually the smartest person in the room, usually. Not the most experienced, clearly not the most experienced. So I had because I would just, half the things I say are like 50% wrong, like in terms of like experience wise, like I can say the right answer for others. I eventually get to the right answer. So I got this really big habit of just asking dumb questions. And then what happened was I just kept asking dumb questions. And then all of a sudden, the people who are really, you often should be smarter than me, stay quiet. And then I am the one who absorbs all the information. I'm the one who understands context. So then what that did was that's transformational, because over the years, I have no problem asking dumb questions for things I don't know. Yeah. And I have a really good habit of understanding things after I ask the question.
Oh, I like that.
And it's really simple, I guess, because just question Q&A, right? But what happened was now I can absolutely know everything, right? People say you can't know everything. I disagree. I think you can. Dude. I think as long as you're willing to learn anything,
I agree.
Then you can know anything.
Exactly.
Right? Now,
I think if you ever have kids, Matt, I think if you ever have kids, you are going to be an information or a researcher dad. Like, you need to know everything. That was me. I needed to know everything. So I ask a lot of questions. So you're reminding me, like, you ask the most simple questions. I remember when I became a mom, I needed to know everything. So I was like what they call a research parent. And I just looked up and asked everything and got into wormhole after wormhole. Anyway, I digress, but I love this. I love asking a dumb question, because then the answer has to be simple. It has to meet the asker where they are. So if you're asking really intellectual questions, the answer might not be what you need it to be if you don't know anything in that space. So I do like the comfortability of asking those dumb questions so that you get the answers that meet that and go, oh, okay, well, let me just explain it this way. Like, if he's asking in this way, he clearly doesn't have any foundational knowledge. So let's go ahead and meet him where he is.
I don't even think like that. I'm not even, my head's not even there. Mine is more, I just ask a dumb question and I approach it as like, I'm a 5-year-old too. So like, I don't even think where people are meeting. I just be like, okay, you're here, I am below here, right? So I am asking like a student, and I do that. I do that with my customer. I do that for everyone, even today. Yep. And so that built the foundation of like, I can actually go. I can go 2 steps forward into unknown territory and keep moving forward, even though I know nothing.
Yeah.
But I can ask questions while I'm moving. Versus, I think a lot of folks, if you are so detail oriented, sometimes they get analysis paralysis and they can't move. You can't do that either.
You know what's fascinating though? There's so many research studies coming out now about the generational emotional age of people truly. And even though you're walking around in this adult skin, most people, you know, at certain generations and certain points of their life, depending on when their emotional growing stopped based on healing and evolving and like how their parents, you know, help them evolve emotionally. A lot of people are actually a much younger emotional age than they are age. And so if you're looking at a person who's maybe the emotional age of a 13-year-old, well, you're thinking about how your emotions are actually involved in all the decision-making process at work. And if you're talking to somebody who's between the ages of maybe 6 and 13 emotionally, that's actually a really smart way to approach a wide range of people in work to act like they are a 5-year-old, ask a question like a 5-year-old, I don't know like a 5-year-old, because you're actually meeting people maybe perhaps more at the emotional age that they are of maturity versus the adult skin of like a 50-year-old or a 45-year-old. You know, in the older generations, the research is coming out that they're much younger emotional in their maturity because the therapy and the work wasn't really a part of their lives or their toolbox. It wasn't really acceptable. A lot of them say no to that. Whereas the younger generation, especially the millennials, are asking the questions and reparenting and revisiting our inner child and doing all the work with therapy, which is further evolving our emotional skill sets. So we're maybe emotionally mature in our 20s, maybe teens, right? We're getting a little bit more traction, but how we are able to process emotionally that stress of like a new thing, right? And it's overwhelming. I'm learning a new task or I'm trying to think about something in a new way. Well, that takes a certain emotional maturity. You have to think about the age of the people you're working with, but not their age on paper. It's like, what is the emotional maturity age of the crew that you're with? And I think meeting them there, which a lot of times asking like you're a 5-year-old is the best way to go.
Yeah, I can probably agree to part of that. The other piece of it is because there's everyone's different, right? So it's hard to really kind of gauge.
Yeah, the generalizing is bullshit. Point. Excuse my generalization, but yes.
But like I think that's a small piece of it, or maybe like 25% of it. I think the other 25% of it is keeping your cards close to your vest, because if you're the smartest person in the room asking the dumbest question in the world, you have a paradox that brings into everyone's head.
Yeah.
Right. And that's more of a poker thing, right? It's why is this person asking such a dumb question? He's supposed to be this person that,
right,
based on credentials, should know all this stuff. Why ask it? Right. And once you start going to that field, what happens is people either often lower themselves, and then the people who don't, it's much easier to discern the two different personalities. On people who are lower themselves, great, now you can be open. People who are doing the opposite and trying to assert implicit power dynamics over you, then in my head it's like, okay, it's a different strategy. Then I'm actually going to talk even less.
Exactly.
And let this person make a fool out of themselves.
There you go. And I was just going to go there. It was the whole premise of my personal brand, which is share your fear. In work, we're often so afraid to look like an idiot, right? In school, this establishes at such a young age, we're afraid of looking like an idiot. They're sharing the fear of, I'm afraid of looking stupid. I'm afraid of looking like a fraud. I have imposter syndrome. I don't deserve to be here, right? And so there's these power dynamics in the work world. And what you just said, when you have the accolades and the platform and you have this, status that's elevated and people go, oh my gosh, do you know he's worth $5 billion? Or do you know that's the founder of XYZ? Like whatever it is. But then they don't have that comfortability and the vulnerable place to ask the questions if they don't know. So they stop asking questions, and then they just get dumber and dumber.
No, they don't. They don't stop asking questions. Or they do. No, they do stop asking questions, but they don't stop talking. They just replace it with other things. Right?
Yes. And then
they're
they
not
look
silent. They're the reverse.
But the share of, the fear of saying, I don't want to look like an imposter, or I don't belong, or I don't know, that's where often I feel there's a lot of toxic leadership, because you have people that don't feel like they're comfortable in this space, when what you just said of having someone, the anomaly, the paradox of, wow, they're XYZ, but they just asked that question, and you're giving them permission with confidence to move forward and say, what color is that computer? I don't even know what the dumb question is. It's right in front of you, but people go, what the fuck? Like, what are they even talking about? And you're like, can you tell me what if I clicked this button in that process, like, what would that do? And they just look at you like, well, duh. You're like, well, just walk me through it. But often when you're walking through something that simple in a process, that's actually how you find the potential downfall or the whole of it, because you're walking it through so simply. You're
just
not
understanding,
getting into the weeds of the details to go, oh, we didn't even think about that. Well, because you didn't revisit the simplicity of it, So I really love like how this topic went here today of being able to ask really dumb questions, but realizing that favorite teacher of yours, there is never a dumb question, Matt, ever.
I mean, this just goes back to the how we grew up, right?
Yeah.
Because this is this is literally everything you just described is actually my foundation. So all my success, I would say 80%, 70% of that success came from just this one topic. And it came from just being naive very early on and being in a room full of experienced people. Now that's how you become a B player in an A room.
Right.
But I'm not faking it till you make it either. It's the A people, at least sometimes, recognize that I have potential. Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's why I'm invited to those rooms. And I know how, even if I'm just like a fly on the wall, I know how to get value out of those meetings or out of those conversations extremely fast. And it doesn't matter if it's business, it could be table tennis, it could be poker, it could be bowling, it could be anything. It could be about in a book club. I'm really good at, okay, these guys are experts in their things. I'm going to understand and really get a gauge of how do I become them?
Yeah.
In 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And when you have that, it's, learning anything is really easy. And then you can do anything.
I agree. I do agree with that statement. I think learning anything is really easy when your ego is set aside and you say, I don't know much of anything about this, or what I do know, I need to either validate that it's true or not. And I'm going to go learn from someone who's modeling what I want to know. And then you just start there, right? I do think learning is easy. And then what you do with that learning, I used to get really overwhelmed. A research mom, right? Had 3 kids, had a lot of postpartum anxiety. So I would just sit in bed and scroll, and my sleep was garbage. But I would get just this influx of information because I was craving information, because I'm a learner. I love learning. But then it's that paralysis of like, what do I do with all this information? And then I'm an activator. So it was like awful, because then I'd try to be activating on all of these different things that I thought we needed to do. And it gets to be really overwhelming. And that is a form of anxiety. And so until I resolved the hormones and like all the postpartum stuff, it really can be overwhelming. If it's not hard to learn, but I think it's hard to then figure out, well, what do you do with everything that you've learned? Because then you have to filter. You actually have to process, does this serve me or not? Do I agree with this or not? Do I want to do anything?
There's a very simple shortcut. Just distill the ocean. Well, it's harder to do, but distill the ocean into a single droplet, right? If you can do that, actually you simplify decision making. You simplify actually everything. Because you're saying, I'm going to take all the information and it needs to be one drop. It doesn't mean it's always the most important thing. It could just, because sometimes like you need a macro perspective on what that data is. But if you're able to just synthesize and just distill like really everything, put into back in the day I used to say.
But how do you do that? How do you do that?
You have to practice it. So like, for example, if you had to go talk to the next person and say, can you sum up your entire podcast in about 10 words? You have to practice that.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can't be inaccurate, right? You can't just pick, okay, well, I'm going to sum up the end of this podcast. I'm going to sum up the beginning, right? No, you have to in 10 words.
That's what ChatGPT is good for.
No, it's actually not. You know why it's not? Because it doesn't know how to put the emotional piece in those 10 words either.
Yeah, you're right.
So you have to understand how to put the 10 words that connect to the person you're trying to describe it to in the most efficient way. Because my summary to you is going to be a different summary to my wife, different summary to another person.
True, because you're thinking about how that person is going to receive that summary.
Right, because when you distill the ocean, it's not in a vacuum. It's in the context of why you're doing it, right?
Someone's and that asking, makes you a great marketer right there. That's what makes Matt a great marketer.
Oh no, that's a skill for everything, right?
It should be.
It's absolutely everything, right? It's not even.
You just described the book Smart Brevity, in my opinion. I love that book.
I have no idea what that book is.
Smart Brevity is taking the wealth of knowledge, just this robust amount of information, and dwindling it down into the most brief, smart statement that you can make. And you're doing it, what you just said, in the context or the emotional tone of the person or the audience that needs to receive it. That's it. And I try to use Smart Brevity in a lot of different places in my life, which is hard because I'm a storyteller. I love elaborate stories, which is why I'm going into the speaker industry, because I want to speak. That's storytelling. But aside from being on stage with a microphone, which you still have to do smart brevity there too, you have to get to your point. But I think in marketing, in business, in websites, we're shifting the whole way we do branding at Fix and Form because we want to use more of that smart brevity. We don't need to have 10 pages. We could have a 2-page website and do a bang up job of explaining exactly who we are and what we do and meet those minimum thresholds of searchability for content size. And that's it. Like, we don't really need to have all this extra shit because I think we're just so inundated with extra and more that everybody's looking for less.
But that's always been the case, right? That has, if you look at every decade, since like, at least for like for me, the 1970s, as far as I can understand, it's always, people have always said, "Hey, there's too much. There's too much. We need to do.
There's too much."
So it's nothing new, actually. It's not even generational. It's actually unique. It's a unique thing that just happens all the time across all ages, across all disciplines. So when you come to distilling, it's a mandated skill for you to, based on your personality. For me, as an introvert, that's a necessary. I had to unlock that to go to the next level, because I can't do what my wife does and just speak her mind. It just does not work for me. But if I can distill everything, I am like ready to talk and prove if what I summarize works or not.
Are you the type of person that, let's say your wife and you get into an argument, do you need a minute to go collect and think about and process? And then,
no.
She's the one who needs a minute. You can just react.
Yeah, she. I mean, I don't know. She often needs more of a minute
to collect and gather, and then give you feedback, and you just kind of react.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's as you know, like relationship dynamics is different for everyone. For me, it's more like I try to avoid conflict.
I imagine so, especially being so introverted.
I try to avoid conflict. So you can imagine in the relationship dynamic there, a lot of my responses is like immediate de-escalation. Right. So that's just, I'd
imagine that's how you are at work too, as a boss. You just immediate de-escalation.
No, I'm the reverse, because if you de-escalate, you never get shit done. No, I am the one who if someone like messes up, I mean, I hate to say it, but I'm the one who says, "This is dog shit, go redo it."
Oh,
right. I am not patient. I used to be. In my 20s, with my other companies, I used to be like really soft and like understanding about time. No, not these days. I'm like, get this shit done. You're getting paid well. Like, I don't care about like how much time it took. Get it. I care about outcomes. Okay. So the outcome needs to come. It needs to be eventually resolved. If you can't hit that, you get retries, but only up to a certain amount. So like, that's where I am, like the reverse. And I got that from my wife. My wife, she kind of taught me how to just be. She's very assertive at her job. So she kind of ripped off me. So I know how to be like. I crack the whip for my company.
Is that more beneficial to you now as a business owner?
Yeah, 100%. No, 100%. I have lost so much money being soft, like so much. Now it's like it's not just getting new revenue, but I know how to optimize the profit margin very, very, very well.
I am getting a bit more abrasive, finally, as a boss as well. I have been more soft, and now I'm having more strict guidelines, more standards, more orders of operation. Next year, we're re-signing all of our contractor agreements. We're committing to the fixed informed brand experience. Anybody who's on my team, I'm looking to be more of an involved, assertive manager, which I don't think I've been doing, which is fine. It's part of the growth. And I think next year it's definitely going to look a little bit more like that. Like, hey, we're going to resolve this problem. If I see this email go back and forth with the client more than 2 times without you picking up the phone, that's 3 strikes, you're out. Like, we're done. This is all like order of operation. This is what we're going to do, because the brand experience is important to me. And if your client journey suffers in any moment of that, I mean, that's the CEO's job. That's what we are here to ensure is being delivered in our company. So whoever is working on the brand, in my opinion, should be committing to those certain things of protocols of saying, hey, once this goes past this mark, like, we're an agency, you had an agency, like, consulting sucks. If you go back and forth with a client on a conflict more than twice in an email, not only are you getting frustrated, they're getting frustrated. That's a tarnished brand reputation. You're picking up the phone, like, get this shit in order now. Like, you're client facing for a reason, So right. It's just like, I think I've let some things slide in the past years of having a team where I've looked at that and gone, oh, okay, I really should have been more of cracking the whip and been assertive and saved it, and not trying to smooth everybody over, because it didn't win. We actually lost contracts because of that. So yeah, I think it makes a much better business leader. And there's a fine balance there of internal brand culture and having that great relationship with your team, but also getting a lot of shit done, making sure you're watching all of the little fine-tuned pieces of that brand experience, the bottom line, the contract, the revenue. Like, there are things that need to be in play there, but it is a lot to manage.
So here's another example of distilling the ocean. So there's a very simple shortcut, and this will be my last point. I got to bounce for another meeting. But, when times are tough, crack the whip.
Yeah.
When times are easy, be extremely empathetic.
I like that. More nurturing.
That's really it. Because you cannot be empathetic if you're sinking. Honestly, you just can't. You have to prioritize something.
Yep. I love that. Nurture in the calm, and connect, and then crack the whip when things are sinking. That's great.
To me, it's there's a whole book on this too. Wartime CEO and peacetime CEO. It's very much the same philosophy there. It's like you're running a business. It's not a charity. It's a different model if you're doing charity.
Yeah. This has been great. I love where we went to today. This was fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for all your thoughts today, Matt. This was a great topic. This was very entertaining for me.
I'm glad we made a snow day podcast,
right?
In a coffee shop, even better than our typical setup. So.
I know. I wish that this was a window of the beautiful snow behind me. I wish you guys could see this, because literally it's just like a blizzard in front of me with a Christmas tree in front of the window, and then there's this coffee shop with all these people working, and it's like, I don't know. I thrive in these environments. It's hotel lobbies, and it's really nicely set up coffee shops for work that just make me thrive. Because that was my 20s, right? I just traveled and was literally in the field at airports, hotel lobbies, and coffee shops. So this is my jam, and it's beautiful. It totally feels like December. So we will maybe put like a snowy cover on this cover art. You're like, no, don't give me more work for this episode. But it is beautiful. It's a very December episode.
So okay, cool. Thanks, Ann. I'll see you later. Bye.